Hello, friends and internet neighbors. Charlie from Up Close and Acoustic here. Just wanted to make a quick note. As far as Up Close and Acoustic goes, I've had a really cool run of a few shows lately featuring Jason Ager from New Jersey, singer-songwriter, rock and solar. Lavinia Blackwall, a sort of progressive take on Steel Eye Span and pentangle kind of music, if you know what I'm talking about. And maybe if you don't know what I'm talking about, you should check them out. Or definitely check out Lavinia Blackwall. And Grace Morrison from New England. She lives in Massachusetts. Really good time with all of them. I truly enjoyed meeting them, having them play music for me. It was great. It was the first run of a bunch of shows in a while. I've come to the point where I think a lot of musicians have come to. I don't know what to do next. I would love for public radio stations to buy Up Close and Acoustic. Thanks to all of the stations that have ever bought Up Close and Acoustic. There was a few years where public radio stations bought every show that I produced, and it was great. And unfortunately, since certain things have changed in America, public radio stations are not buying the show. And I have fun creating them, but I don't have an outlet. As a dinosaur, I would like the show to go out over the air. I enjoy that the show is broadcast. When it is purchased, it is broadcast. I know that there are places that I could put the show and have it go out online. It is available on the PRX, PRI site for on-demand listening. But, I don't want it to sound conceited, but I don't do the show for free. I've never worked for radio for free. I've volunteered, but I've never just volunteered. I had paying radio gigs, and I considered Up Close and Acoustic up until the beginning of this year or just a few months ago to be a paying radio gig. Didn't make a lot of money, but it made money, little tiny bit of money. That was me being paid still to do radio because it would then be broadcast by whatever station had bought it. That doesn't happen anymore. Hasn't happened, for a long time. The show is listened to. There's a dedicated online listenership, which I'm grateful for, and I'm sure that all the guests that have been on the show are grateful for. But I'm not just going to hang the show out for nothing. I'm not in radio for that. I'm in radio because I enjoy it, but I'm also in radio to make money, to be paid. And I don't think that there's anything wrong with that. In fact, tonight I'm wearing there's nothing like someone having fun on the radio to annoy you shirt. I made that up for a buddy of mine, and I made one for myself too. I like the idea that something said on the air could affect somebody in a car or a house or somewhere who was listening along on the air to have a reaction. I love that about radio. And while podcasts are great, I've been doing podcasts since 2005. An early joiner in the podcast continuum. But it's hard, not impossible, but it's hard to build an audience. And I know musicians know exactly what I'm talking about. Gain a following, keep a following, and have money paid to you for what you do to create what you do. I know people, I know famous people who do radio shows for free and hang them out on the internet for free, and more power to them. I'm glad that they enjoy it. Some of them were heroes of mine. They're still heroes of mine. They're still around, still making content. But I want to be paid. I don't want to just give it away. I work hard. There are so many hours, so many man hours put into each episode. You wouldn't believe it. You really wouldn't believe it. But a lot of man hours go into me not just recording the show and talking to somebody and assembling a show around an interview, adding live music, adding music from different files of albums and CDs. A lot goes into it. Writing intros and outros and writing rejoins and what have you, and editing it all together. It's a process that I want to be paid for. And it's not happening anymore. So I don't know whether to continue or do something else. Unfortunately, public radio, for me, for a person of my stature, which is not tall at all in the nature of public radio, I think what I do deserves to be heard. I think it's done pretty well. I always say I know what I don't like in radio shows that are based around interview and music and performance and getting to know a band or a songwriter. I know what I don't like, so I avoid it. I don't do what everybody else does. I do what I like, and I want to know the songwriter. I want to know the band. I want to talk to them. I have questions always, but I'd rather have more of a conversation, and usually that's what the show is about. In fact, the Grace Morrison show, she and I talk about a lot of different things in and around music, but also way outside of music. And I feel that it gives the listener an opportunity to get to know the songwriter and why they write the way they do, why they create music the way they do. And I think that's a benefit, not just for that songwriter, but I think it's a benefit for the audience to understand the process of people who are creative. I, in my own little way, doing this show, I feel as if I am creative in the way it's put together. I don't claim that it's perfect every time. I mean, I'm the kind of person that listens with a critical ear, not just to everything else, but to myself. And it's sometimes I'll listen back to a show after I've signed off on it and put it out to be bought, and I cringe and go, oh man, I wish I didn't do that. Or man, you talked a lot about you and not enough about them, or something. There's always something. I'm always trying to improve. But now I've gotten to the point where I'm not sure where to go. I'm really not sure. I just want to be paid for what I do. Like musicians want to be paid for what they do. They create something, they create a work of art, they want to be paid for it. I understand. I want to be paid for what I create. And right now, as things stand, that's not happening. So I'm at a crossroads. I don't even know if anybody's going to respond to this video. I don't know if anybody who sees this video has ever heard my show, Up Close and Acoustic. You can search it by Googling Up Close and Acoustic on PRX. That's what you type into the browser, and there's a bunch of shows to choose from across a bunch of different genres, like songwriters from a bunch of different genres. Everybody's pretty different. Every interview is very different, always with an eye towards improving on my part and an eye towards introducing new listeners to new to them artists and songwriters. I had a bunch of fun talking with Lavinia Blackwell. I had a bunch of fun with Grace Morrison, who was at the house. I had a lot of fun with Jason Ager, who was here at the house recording the show. It was great. And Lavinia Blackwell and her husband, Marco, set up over in Italy to play live for me over the internets for the show. And that was fun. I mean, it's always fun. It's always unique. It's always different the way the show's put together. But should I keep up with it if nobody's going to purchase the show? I had inquiries about joining a station's schedule as a weekly show. So I ramped up production again. For the longest time, things were kind of quiet. And then I had somebody inquire about, hey, I'd like to run the show. And I got back to them, of course, almost immediately saying, yeah, give me a call. Let's talk about it. And, um, and then the next day, of course, public radio was, defunded, or it's going to be defunded. However, it is working. Nobody's buying the show. If you have feedback, great. If you don't, I'm used to not hearing about it. Like I always say, my best friends don't even know I have a show. I don't think they've listened once, and that's fine. I'm grateful for the people I've connected with over the years that do listen. That's great. Um, but I'm curious as to where to go. I'm not sure. My musician friends, please. I know you fairly well, especially the ones I've talked to at length. What do you think? I'm not sure. I have a lot of friends who create radio content, well, what should be radio content, and they hang them up as podcasts, and it's usually for free. And that's absolutely what I do not want to do. I put a lot of work into it. Pay me. I'm not usually that cold and calculating, but that's where it stands. Anyhow, thank you for listening. Love you all.